Kindie Rockstars. Prepare for a treat, let's meet and greet some bands and singers that are super sweet, making music that's fun for boys and girls. Help them learn about this great big world. Fun for the family, yes it's true, your kids will love it and you will too. Clap and dance and sing aloud, become a part of the Kindie crowd. These songs will make you move your feet and give your ears a great big treat. So settle in, grab your guitars, and let's get to know our Kindie Rockstars. Hello everyone, and welcome to Kindie Rockstars. This is the show that gives you the stories behind the songs from some of the best bands and singers that are making fun, informative, educational, catchy, and occasionally silly songs for children and families. I'm your host, Patrick Adams, and each episode of Kindie Rockstars will feature an artist and a featured song. So let's get to this week's show. I am super excited today to have Kelli Welli on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. It's really fun that you do this, so I'm excited to be part of it.
Well, thank you. Well, tell everyone out there how you got into Kindie music.
Well, let's see. I think like a lot of artists, when I had kids, I was very inspired by them and the experiences I was having as a mom. But I've been a songwriter for about 25 years. So I've been doing it since college. And one of the first songs I ever wrote was a kid's song way back when, because I have siblings who are a lot younger than me. So when I was in college, my little closest brother was 8. And so I would go home and visit him on the weekends, and we'd talk about little kid things and stuff. So Tacos, Bananas, and Toy Boats was one of the probably first 5 songs I ever wrote. And it's one of the favorite songs we play now in the shows. And I didn't know, whether or not it would be worthy, because that was way back when I started. And then between then and now, and when I started doing kids music, I had done a lot of work with Portland Songwriters Association, done a lot of workshops and gone to conferences and done a lot to work on the craft of songwriting without really recording or getting out there, as much as just it being something that I did on the side and really I love the writing. So I really focused on and constantly writing. So I had lots of time in my car to write songs about whatever I might see as I'm passing, going down the road, and to focus on word choices and not using the same word twice in a song, or in a description in the verses, and trying to make the verses have depth and meaning. And a lot of times the first verse comes more easily than the second verse. So the second verse can take a while, sometimes over decades to get that final word that you like. So I had a lot of experience with the craft of songwriting, but it wasn't until I had my kids that I really focused on writing songs for them, which started out as lullabies when they were I have twins who are 8, and when they were babies, I had a lot of time with them. And, you're sitting there nursing, well, you probably don't know what that's like to sit and nurse, but when I was, songs would come to my mind, or if I'm rocking them. And they're very inspiring little people, anything that they're doing, funny things or sweet things. And so I think also being a mom and all the new experiences that came with that was a topic to me. It can be kind of lonely, actually, when you're first a new parent in those long hours, or when the times when I was a stay-at-home mom for, or I still am when I'm not doing my music, but it can be kind of lonely to just be with your kids sometimes for your adult brain, right? So I think that's why I like to say I write songs for kids and the people who love them. That's my sort of tagline that I always put on things, but I really do mean that. And it matters to me when I'm writing a song that I'm thinking about the kids I'm writing it for or hoping to share it with, but also the parents who may or may not be listening to it on repeat, and whether or not there are elements in there that they can enjoy and relate to. So yeah, I'd say that I was definitely inspired once I had my kids, but it's also something I'd been doing a long time before that.
Yeah, no, when you first started songwriting, did you envision having like an adult songwriting career first and then diverted, or how did that go?
I was trying to pitch songs, songs for the Americana genre, country, pop, and organizations like Taxi and other places, going to songwriting events where A&R people would come, and trying to really, honestly, on the side though, I have a master's in publishing and I had a corporate publishing business of my own, and that was how I made my living. But I didn't ever feel like I could just stop that and justify financially just going off to be a songwriter. I did not play an instrument for a long time. I free write, so I get the words and melody at the same time, just a cappella wherever I am. And occasionally I'll sit down with a guitar now, and I will get song ideas with the instrument. But because I didn't play, it wasn't as easy for me to just go to open mics or some of those things where you might gain some of your experience. And honestly, it made me a little bit less confident about that. And I had a guitar. One of the biggest compliments I ever got was when my brother, who was then post high school, got me a guitar at a garage sale or something, and he just surprised me with it. But it was huge. And I tried some lessons and things like that, and finally eventually realized I need a smaller guitar, and then I can actually spend time with this instrument. But I really just did it on the side, but it was a constant, if that makes sense. I pretty much always have several songs that I'm in process on, or new ideas that are coming. So even though it wasn't my professional focus at the time, it was kind of embodying, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's the right word, but or part of a defining part of my person, I guess, if that makes sense.
So when did you make the leap into actually releasing the songs?
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. I did release a few I've grown up songs, in quotations. It's always such a funny thing to say, before doing any Kindie music. And the reason I got into that, took that leap, was because I had a concussion I played roller hockey and ice hockey. I still play ice hockey mostly. And I got knocked over in a hockey game by somebody who just was skating with his head down. And it just knocked me for about a month. I couldn't work on my computer. I could function, but my eyes would trigger this post-concussion syndrome when I looked at a screen. So it took a little while to figure that out. And then a year later, I had a reoccurrence of this post-concussion syndrome for 8 months. So at that point, I really had to like cancel projects and things that I was doing in my corporate publishing business. And I was like making an emergency kit, cleaning everything in the house, doing whatever random things I could, do with my time because I couldn't work in my profession at the time. So eventually I just said to my husband, if I can't use my eyes, maybe I can use my ears in the songwriting and do something with the songwriting that I'm doing all the time. And that was when I first recorded. Let's see. The first one I recorded was a holiday song that is a grown-up holiday song. It's kind of a love song. Will the new year bring you? And then after that, I think I recorded a kid's song, what I call a kid's song now, but I wrote it for my dog. But my aunt was also in the process of passing away, and she was one of the most important people in my life. She was kind of like she was my aunt, but she was basically my best parent, if that makes sense. And so I wanted to record this song. She loved dogs. She had dogs and she didn't have any kids. And I wanted to record the Ooh La La song to present to her before she passed. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about that. Anyway, yeah, that was one of the first times that I was just determined to go ahead and record. And then from that, I got a lot of good feedback for that little song. And it's just filled with love. It's just a very simple song, but and my dog also passed, the one I wrote it for. So anyway, it was nice to re-release that song later. We re-recorded it and we added some ukulele and things like that and put it in an album, an EP for kids that we called Love, or that I called Love as a Lullaby. So that was the push off, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that song will always have powerful meaning for you then.
Yeah. And it's funny how you never know what sort of things in your life are going to direct the next journey or chapter that you're going to take, right? I mean, now we're in COVID, and I know people have had to scramble in a lot of ways just to get by, or a lot of songwriters, kid songwriters especially. It's been hard to see that they're having to take jobs, doing Instacart, or one of my favorite local guys had to go get a job as a mailman. And I'm sure he's doing wonderfully at that job, but we certainly miss having, his band playing in Portland and all the bands. But my concussion, who would have known that actually was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because, and actually the other thing is that when my aunt passed away, the one I was talking about, she left her money to my 7 siblings and cousins and I. So none of us got super rich out of it or anything, mm-hmm. But it was an egg that I felt I could justify using for this thing that I had been doing for so long, but that I knew was expensive and would be difficult to recoup the costs. So because she left that to me, and because I had a concussion, I was able to really basically make a reality the thing that had defined me for so long, this art. My parents are both fine artists, and I grew up with paint and art, mm-hmm. and all sorts of mediums everywhere. But I also saw how difficult it is to make a living as an artist. And so I think I couldn't allow myself to not pay the bills.
Right.
In order to do my, like I got to do my art at all costs. I wasn't willing to do that and couldn't justify that. But since I have this gift, from someone I would rather have her than that money. But because that wasn't a choice, it sure was nice to be able to follow that dream.
Yeah. So how did you navigate through the pandemic?
Honestly, I mean, we're still here. When it's interesting. I had just released my first full album, which was a compilation of my 3 EPs that I had put out. The Ooh La La, I'm not even saying it right. Ooh La La, to do na na, oop bop, ribbit was the name of the album, and there is a reason behind that insane title. But I had released it in January of 2020, and I was, for the first time, really doing as much of the marketing as I could and trying to get reviews and submitting to song contests and things. And then the pandemic hit it was late March that Oregon shut down pretty much completely, and my kids' school closed, and I just had to stop everything. It was all dedicated at that point to trying to get my kids through the school situation through the spring.
Yeah.
And
Zoom classes and all that.
Yeah. And just navigating all of that. And my husband's company has since been pretty awesome, and he's able to get a day off a week. Or, he went down to 80% pay in order to have a day that he can help with the kids. And he was able to do that last year during the distance learning. But initially that, wasn't something that they figured out they needed to be flexible about. And so I think, like a lot of women around the country, I know when that happened, you had to take the hit to your career in order to take care of the kids. So, thankfully, though, in the summer after that, I had pretty much completed my second album, and we had been recording the songs for like 3 years prior. So I was able to get some help from Brian Dast and to take everything and get it ready for release. And then Beth Blends Klukas, who's with the Sugar Mountain PR, she agreed to help me with PR for releasing that album. So a year later, in January of 2021, I was able to release a second album and kind of do it, do better and do it justice a little bit more. And because my husband was able to take another day off, and just being scrappy and basically making it work, was able to get that album out. And since then, my kids are back in school, so that's making a big difference. I'm about to, I've finished up a third album, and I'm looking forward to releasing that. So it's going to come out in the spring. And I'm just kind of working in the pockets of time I have, I think everyone understands that now.
Absolutely. Now, I really want to compliment you. You have one of the most impressive Kindie artist websites that I've ever seen. Kids, I think, could get lost for hours in there, whether it's the videos, the music, the activities, things like that. How did you kind of piece together that website?
I actually feel like I need to kind of clean it up and make some things easier to access or find. So that's on the list. But my master's being in publishing, I did corporate publishing work for a long time. And part of that encompasses, for me anyway, graphic design, layout, and some online publishing. So I am able to do my own website and do all the graphics and everything. And I'm able to make coloring pages, make activities, things like that. Just able to sit down and do those things, which has been a blessing, I think. I know that, Kindie artists and grown-up artists too, anyone who's in music now has to wear so many hats. And it's really amazing that we're able to actually even get any of it done, because there's just so much. And now there's the social media stuff that's so constant, and I'm getting a little bit of help with that right now from Nikki Rung, actually. Thank you, Nanny Nikki. She's awesome. And she's been doing some of that in addition to her music. And so I'm like so thankful to have someone kind of teaching me, I guess, some of the things I didn't know I needed to know. So
very cool. All right. Are you ready to get into your song?
Certainly, yeah.
The song today is called Turtlurtlurtle. That is a fun title for a song. Kelli, what inspired you to write that one?
Well, I wish I could take credit for the name Turtlurtlurtle, but it's actually inspired by my little friend Tamaya's grandparents' nickname for her. And Tamaya is now in middle school, but at the time she was a tiny one, and her grandparents, who she likes to call Banana and Corn for some reason, who live up in Edmonton, Alberta, they had that nickname for her. And I heard it and I just thought that needs to be a song. It was an amazing, little story. They're funny. They're a funny crew. So it was a fun and inspiring thing. And then the song itself just kind of organically came from the name. I didn't really set out to write a story song per se, but the story is, I very much visualize it, though, as if it was a children's book, and it would be fun to make a book of it someday. That shows, the sister bugging the Turtlurtle's got a sister Myrtle, and she's kind of, the scrappy little sister and things like that. So
it does. Yeah. There's a lot of children's songs, which like that would make a good book. Or in my case, I wrote the books first and the songs came afterwards. So, but yeah, I think a lot of people I talk to, if they haven't yet, they have thoughts of it. Either doing a book or something like that. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's not necessarily always going to translate as simply as, just here's my song. But I know that from coming from the book world myself with having my master's in publishing. But it's the idea, right? A lot of times it's the spark that gets you going. So. All
right, well, let's play the song. Here is Turtlurtlurtle by Kelli Welli.
Thank you.
Isn't an otter either, and her best friend Lou is a turtle too. How do you do, Lou? Turtlurtle has a sister Myrtle. She's a turtle, not a parrot, fish, flamingo, or a bat. If you get confused when you see her on the evening news, she isn't a TV journalist. She has a crush on Lou, if he only knew. How do you do, Lou? Now, turtles don't often get mistaken for other animals in the zoo, except for tortoises. They live on land. We're talking about turtles. They live in the water and on land too. is a little bit unusual. She likes to wear a costume every day of her life. She's super social, soaking in the pools of other animals. She doesn't seem scared at all. And her best friend Lou wears a costume too, but only sometimes. So if you happen to be at the zoo and you see a strange looking animal, it might be a turtle in disguise. Otherwise, it might be a Homo sapien. Turtle, 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 Lou. Turtle, 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 Lou. Turtle, Clyde a turtle, and Myrtle, Myrtle finally married Lou. Everybody's happy, this is sounding kinda sappy, but we hope to see you at the zoo. Bring your best friend too if he's a turtle. You are lucky.
That was Turtlurtlurtle by Kelli Welli. All right, Kelli, I also understand that that was an award-winning song.
Yeah, it won the grand prize in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest just a few months ago. So I'm really excited. It's also going to be up for their annual final song contest. So that'll be happening, I think, in the springtime. Look for it.
Congratulations. I'm not surprised. It's a really good song.
Thank you so much.
All right, so tell everyone where people can find and download or stream your music and where they can connect with you on social media.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Kelli Welli Kids. So at Kelli Welli Kids, that's KELLI WELLI. And KelliWelli.com is my website where you can find coloring pages for free and activities and some other fun things to do, as well as lyrics to some of the songs. And so I would love to connect with anybody who's interested in the music or some of the other fun things.
Awesome. Well, Kelli, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been really fun to talk.